Welcome to this evening's Board of Selectmen meeting. I'd like to start off with a roll call, please.
Judy O'Connell here.
Garrett Palmer.
Greg Bendel here.
Kevin Kyra here.
Okay. We just came out of executive session pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel town manager. I'd like to ask you all now to stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance with us, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. Transmitting of Treasury warrant number 88A, 99A, 10, 10A, 11, and 11A. Do I have approval?
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Unanimous. There are no approval of minutes this evening, and we are going to switch things up a little bit. We're going to start with the salute to service of William B. Farrell, and I'm going to turn that over to Selectman Bendel.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Good evening, everybody. It's my distinct pleasure to present this salute to service to a gentleman who is actually with us this evening. But before I introduce him, I just want to read that the Wilmington Board of Selectmen recognizes Mr. William B. Farrell, or Bill, as he's known, for his service to his country from the United States Marine Corps during World War II, and for his service to his community, recognized by the Board of Selectmen on September 13, 2021. And to my colleagues, we have the great pleasure of having Bill with us here tonight, along with Lou, our Veteran Service Officer, and Patty, also from the office. And so, Bill, if I may come out into the audience, I'd like to present this to you. On behalf of the town of Wilmington, we are eternally grateful for your service. It's my understanding that it was your mission to make sure that the last soldiers from World War II made their way home, and I know that you were instrumental in that. And since that time, you've come home and raised a beautiful family, and I know you have a long-time marriage with your wife. I congratulate you on that as well, and our entire community thanks you for your service to our country. Madam Chair, if it's okay through you, I'd like to recognize our Veteran Service Officer. Perhaps he may want to say a few words about Bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Board of Selectmen. I'd like to say a few words about Bill, but he was a Marine, so just a quick story. He joined before he got out of high school, and the reason he joined the Marines is because he used to sketch, and he sketched a lot of pictures of men in combat, the Marines in combat. So when he was getting ready to get out of high school, he knew he was going to get drafted, so he didn't want to get drafted into the Army, so he joined the Marines. And that's what he did. At 93 years old, married 70 years, and you just don't see that anymore. So once again, salute to Bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Farrell. It's an honor to have you here this evening. Thank you, Lou. Okay, next we're going to go into appointments. First up, we have Brendan Fitzpatrick, an Eagle Scout candidate, with a request to place Agent Orange Memorial at Silver Lake. Come on up, Brendan.
Wilmington High School. I am a Life Scout in Troop 56 and currently working to become an Eagle Scout. I'm here seeking approval for my Eagle Scout project. I'd like to put an Agent Orange Vietnam Memorial near the existing monuments off Main Street by Silver Lake. I have pictures of the location and packets if you would like to pass them down.
Sure, that'd be great.
Thank you.
I have already spoken with Lrp Consulting at the Department of Veterans Services, and he has approved my project. Do you have any questions for me? The pictures of the sample monument should be at the back.
Got it. What, I'm sorry, say it again.
I said, do you have any questions for me?
Oh, any questions? I don't. This is beautiful. Any comments or questions? Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Brendan, thanks so much for being here. I know it's a school night, and
Yeah.
it's not easy getting up to that microphone. You're very brave. You've done a great job, and I know your family should be very proud of you. I think this is an awesome idea. I think that those who served during the Vietnam era and before and after will really appreciate this. I think it'll be a great addition to what's kind of become a really, really nice spot in town where we honor a lot of important folks. And I think this would be a great addition. So thank you so much for trying to take on this project, and certainly the best of luck to you. And we look forward to helping you in any way that we can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Brendan, if I can ask, what made you pick this?
I wanted to honor veterans for my Eagle Scout project, and I met with Mr. Camiglia, and this is one of the projects the Departments of Veterans Services wanted to bring awareness of.
Great.
And the honor the veterans affected by the Agent Orange.
That's wonderful. Thank you. All right.
Brendan. Brendan,
Yes?
as you're going along in this project, why don't you stop in at one of our meetings and let us know where you are with it?
All right.
And if there's anything that we as the selectmen in town can do for you, let us know, please.
All right, thank you.
And we'd love to be there when it's completed for the unveiling.
Thank you.
Lou, do you want to add anything? Sure, if you don't mind. I do not.
Brendan's another one of our fine examples of the young kids, the young men in Wilmington going for their Eagle Scout. This is a project that not only is near and dear to many Vietnam-era veterans, because we've lost more Vietnam veterans to the Agent Orange effects than we actually lost in Vietnam. I'm pretty sure Brendan has an uncle, too, that served
yes.
in Vietnam. So it was a good little project together. And like you said, Greg, I think that little area up on Main Street where the flagpole is, that was donated by a company here in town, and the Landry and the other two monuments over there. I think it'd be a nice little fit in there to be like a little memorial park
Yeah.
up there. But I think it's a noble cause. The Agent Orange effects have been devastating to many veterans. And just to give you a brief overview, because of the use of Agent Orange in Vietnam as a defoliant, a lot of men that served there have effects such as diabetes, cancers, heart disease. So a lot of them, unfortunately, they've succumbed to the injuries because of Agent Orange. So surrounding communities have put one up. I know Billerica has put one up. So it's a great idea, and I commend this young man for doing it.
Thank you, Lou. No, I agree. So, do you have anything to add, Jude?
Just wanted to say thank you very much for being here. It takes a lot of courage, as has been stated by Selectman Bendel, to stand up at the microphone. I can see the joy in your face and the smile that you have with all the positive comments that are coming forward. For me, this hits home for me because my father-in-law served in Vietnam. He was part of the 1st Cavalry, and he's had some direct effects from this. And I think it's not well understood by many just what the impact Agent Orange has had on our servicemen and women. So the fact that you're bringing this awareness to the community, and I think Lou said it best, that it's going to be in an area where there are other memorials. You are adding a very key and integral piece to Wilmington's commitment to honor our servicemen and women. So I'm very proud of you, and I want to thank you very much for coming here tonight. Thank you.
Brendan, I want to, through the chair, just echo my colleagues' comments, and thank you for taking this on. I have a very close friend who served in Vietnam, and I can tell you that having this monument is important for those individuals that served and sacrificed in Vietnam. So thank you for doing this.
Absolutely, and it also helps further educate people on the effects of Agent Orange, and because I will admit myself, I know of it, and I have obviously heard stories, but I didn't realize Lou's statement there that it's killed more people than the actual war. So that's wonderful that you're doing that to honor them. So we will take a vote. All in favor? Start down with Judy.
Is there a motion?
Oh, a motion. I'm sorry. A motion to approve.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Second.
All right. Second. All in favor? All right. Unanimously approved. We look forward to supporting you and seeing it complete. Best of luck.
All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay. I do have to pause because I should have did this in the beginning, but I would like to welcome our newest member, albeit a former member, but our newest member, Judy O'Connell, to the board. She was elected in the special election earlier in the month. So Judy, welcome. We are thrilled to have you on board with all of us.
Thank
we look
you.
forward to your contributions.
Thank you very much.
All right. So we'll continue on with appointments. Next, we have Aaron Danswit. I hope I'm saying that right. If not, please correct me. Another Eagle Scout candidate who is requesting to place 6 military flagpoles on town common. Welcome, Aaron. Yeah, Lou to the rescue.
That's better.
Perfect. Thank you, Lou.
So, hello. My name is Aaron, and I'm here to present my Eagle project, which is placing 6 flagpoles on the town common where the American flag is already standing. And I do have pictures to help visualize
No problem. Take your time.
what it'll be like.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, wow.
So, like the Eagle Scout candidate before me, I am seeking approval for this Eagle project. I am also working with the Wilmington veterans on this, and Lou.
Nice. I'd like to open it up to any questions from the board or comments? Gary?
What made you decide on the flagpoles?
So, Wilmington has always been a town supporting their veterans, and the Wilmington Veterans Office got in contact with me saying that they had some projects that wanted to be done, and just wanted to see if I want to work on one as an Eagle project, and I chose this one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Thank you. Thank you very much for being here. I'll say the same to you. I appreciate you. It takes a lot of courage to get up there. Sometimes we ask tough and silly questions, so you're doing a great job so far.
Thank you.
But clearly, following the footsteps of your brother, who I think was here a few years back, and I remember when he went through his process, and so I think this is a great idea. I love the examples.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Woburn is beautiful over there by the cinemas. I know Burlington has something similar to this, and I would love to see it here in Wilmington, so I really appreciate you taking this on, and I know everybody in the community is going to be really proud of you doing this work, so best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, thank you very much for being here. I'm very impressed with the whole presentation that you've put together. Not only the illustrations, but specifically the back page that line lists out the project details, some of the project red tape that you're gonna need to go through, and then the proposed cost. I think, in addition to, volunteering and seeking to do this endeavor, just this whole presentation is very well put together, and you've thought of everything. It's kind of a separate question, and I don't mean to spot you on this, but I'm just curious for my own knowledge. It says, one of the red tape items is that you'll need access to a water source. What would that be for? I'm just curious.
For mixing concrete
Okay.
for the base
Gotcha.
of the
Okay, understood.
flagpoles.
Okay, so in terms of, I see that the work is to be completed in late October, and I see the proposed cost of being just over $4,000. Is there anything aside, because I intend to vote, 1,000% in support of this, is there anything that we should know as a board in terms of any sort of fundraising efforts, that if anyone out in the community wanted to contribute to this, have you had success raising the money for it? And is there anything that you can share with us as to where people could go if they wanted to donate towards this project?
All right. So for that, I have started to set up a GoFundMe for that will be live soon. And I also intend to reach out to some of the local businesses, such as the 99s. I know Marty, the general manager there, and also maybe Market Basket. See if I can get a few donations out of them.
Sure. If there's any way that, through the proper financing guidelines that we have to adhere to as members of the board, if there's a way that you could perhaps get that information through the town manager's office, and perhaps we could help disseminate that information at least to the community, whether we help you get it out to the media outlets, or we work with Lou to try and help get the word out, because I believe that there would be people that would like to show their patriotism, especially in light of, for example, a 9/11 ceremony that was put on, such a fitting event, that people would be looking to support something like this to pay tribute to, all of our armed forces. So aside from congratulating you, I just wanted to bring this up
Yeah.
as a means to try and help you financially.
Absolutely. Any further comments?
Eric, congratulations. It's such a noble cause, but both the monument and the flags, two noble causes, and fitting to be done for the town of Wilmington, for sure. And just to go off of my colleague, as what she said, in looking for donations, you mentioned businesses, don't forget about organizations
Yeah.
in town that typically are generous as well, so.
Yeah.
But this is outstanding. Again, congratulations
Yeah.
on this.
Yep,
Thank
I
you.
echo my colleagues' statements, so we do support this, and let's see what Lou
Thank you, Madam
can
Chair.
add to this.
Once again, I've said it a million times, I'm so proud of this community for so many reasons. And here you have two young men stepping up to do their Eagle Scout project, which is a big deal in its own, and to be able to do something that's going to be up there forever. So
Yep.
Selectman O'Connell said, just kind of stole my thunder. I was going to say, don't forget, anybody that has questions on the fundraising, they can call our office. We'll direct them to their GoFundMes or whatever they plan on for both projects. But I'm just honored, especially after this past weekend, what's been going on and everything, and what we've been through. I'm honored to say that I live in Wilmington, and two young men like this, I'm pretty confident it's going to go on for a long
Yeah.
time. And their projects are going to be there forever. So
Yeah, it's gonna be
it's a great
stunning.
job by both of them.
Great. Thank you, Lou. Well, as an Eagle Scout mom, I'm, proud of you both. We're all proud of you, and you're going to do good things. So do I have a motion to approve this?
So moved.
A second. I think everybody's all in favor? Unanimous. Congratulations, and we look forward to supporting you and being there on Veterans Day. It looks like will be the ceremony, so we'll look forward to that. It's going to be even more spectacular this year.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Lou, thank you for all the support. Okay. All right, next, we have the recognition of the Wilmington Little League Junior Baseball Team. And I know I saw, there's Coach Kelly. Yeah, if you want to bring them all in. So do you want to announce names and then I go up, or you want me to do the whole thing?
It's up to you if you want to, I can give you the.
Yeah, and I can just announce it real quick. I can do that. Yeah, if you want to just like line them up here, that'd be great. That way they can get on camera, right? That'd be awesome. Coach Kelly, if you'd like to say a few words, that'd be great. Can
Where do I start?
I know, right? Just take the mic, right? There you go. There you go.
First, would like to thank the board for recognizing the team. This was one of the things on the agenda that we wanted to bring back when we won the state title. My oldest son won the districts back in 2014, and once we got this far, this was one of the definitely the things that we wanted to do was come to, recognition of the board in the town. It was so special back then, and we're just trying to recognize the boys on what a wonderful summer they had through difficult circumstances. From January when we first started practice, April we first started playing games in the MBDL league. We won that league. We beat Woburn. We had to come back and beat them twice, which we did in the IF game. We qualified for the districts. We made it to the sectionals. We lost our first game in the sectionals. We battled. We won the next two games. Made us to the state semifinal game, which we won out in Oxford against Longmeadow. And then we played East Bridgewater, who we had played previously a week before, and we won. We beat them again 1-0.
Wow.
So, to come. Looking back at the files, I've been in town for 13 years. This is not many teams win the state championship.
No.
So tonight, our 15 minutes of fame is up. We have been all over New England. We have been to the Woo Sox game. They recognized us a couple weeks ago on-field ceremony. And then last Tuesday, we're at Fenway Park, where they had all the state championships from all the levels, from 8 years old all the way up to 18. Up against the Green Monster for recognition night, a youth baseball, which I thought was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
That the kids get to experience. It's something they're going to look back at. And, the purpose of all this from, what the coaches got together was to have them give back. Ice Bucket Challenge, we saw you there.
Yeah.
And for them to come back and be coaches and be leaders and to be on the board and to be on the Little League board and to give back in the other sports and to volunteer in the community, be part of the Rotary Club. And all the great work, and especially after this weekend, seeing what Lou does with the veterans. As a veteran Marine, that's the one thing I want to be more involved in. I want to get the kids out Memorial Day, putting out flags.
Yeah.
I just really want these kids to have their families grow up in Wilmington. Wilmington has been so gracious to me and my family, and to these kids and the coaches, that it's time for us to give back. They're old enough now that they can do that, and that's kind of why we're here today.
That's great, thank you. And I will say, you speak truth, because I know that that's what you are doing. You grew up playing, and you're paying it forward. You're giving it back. So, and I will say, I had the pleasure of my son Michael playing for Coach Kelly multiple times, and I can definitely say that he is a fantastic coach. And you guys already know this. And no disrespect to your other coaches, I just don't know you. So. But I will say for Coach Kelly that he's going to be that coach that you're going to tell your kids about, because he is he's a player's coach. He cares about, I know he cares about each one of you. He cares. It's not about winning. It's about getting out there, doing your best, and being respectful. So I know if this team has to be obviously probably a little better than the teams that I experienced, which were good, because you went all the way. So it's a tribute to all of you standing here, coaches and players, but also to you, Coach Kelly. And I say that because I know you, but just from everything you said, it's wonderful that this is a baseball team and you're looking forward to these guys contributing to society, not just playing baseball and giving back. So I hope you guys, learn that from Coach Kelly and your other coaches as well. Open it up to.
Sure, thank you, Madam Chair. Fellas, thanks so much for being here. Coaches, players, congratulations. We're really, really proud of you. The whole town is proud of you. I know there's probably a lot of little guys in town that look up to you. I could speak for myself. Growing up here, played baseball. I never made it out of Rotary Park, so we certainly didn't make it this far. I was just okay. I was better than Kyra, but
I got 2 home runs out of Rotary, I don't know.
these guys do that all the time. These guys do that in warm-ups. But we're really, it's a big accomplishment, but we hope this is just the beginning for you guys, and I think Coach has a great message for you guys. Coach, we really appreciate what you guys are doing with these young guys, instilling those kind of values into them. We certainly appreciate your service to our country, and I think you really hit it out of the park with the messaging that you have to your guys, that there's it's more than just baseball that you guys are teaching them, and we really appreciate that. So I'm glad that the business trip you made down there to Oxford paid off and out west, and we're really proud of you. So congratulations, and best of luck keeping going forward. I know this is just the beginning for you guys.
Congratulations to the coaches, the parents, and especially you guys for making it happen, for sure. You guys are tall, you're big, you're strong. I'm sure that the high school baseball team, that they're probably getting ready. My brother's the varsity coach there, so I'm hoping he's watching this tonight to take a look at you guys, because you're going to set the standard for sure. Guys going to move right up and make things happen all the way. But congratulations, you certainly did make Wilmington proud, and best in your endeavors, and keep studying, that's most important, right? And keep playing. Teamwork is integral to your life and how you're going to move forward. So good luck, congratulations, and keep up the good work.
Congratulations, like my colleagues have said. In sports and like anything in life, it's dedication. And for you to advance this far, you've had to want it. The dedication's got to be astronomical, and I commend you all. I know there's probably times when you wanted to go do something else, but there was practice, and you headed for practice. Sports is a team effort, and I want to commend you. And when you walked in here, I thought it was the high school team, to be honest with you. Congratulations. I wish you all the best. Continue it.
So a lot of the comments have been said, but I'll tell you, I look out here and I see some of these faces, and I've seen you at much smaller heights and ages, so it's amazing how you've grown. When I see a team like this come in, I'm just in awe. This is probably one of the best parts of this job, is when we get to highlight performance in the community, whether it's young people like you or anyone through the town that's done something that puts us on the map. You should be so proud of yourselves. You've brought tremendous pride to this community. You've put 01887 on the map. You have kept the baseball spirit alive. There's so many other sports that are out there. I love to see a baseball team. This is my passion sport for me. I just want to say congratulations to all of you. Aside from all of the successes that you've had on the field, I'm sure that you've bonded together as a team in terms of friendships. And these are friendships and a kinship that you'll develop, that you'll take with you for the rest of your life. And some of the best lessons I learned were on the athletic fields personally, and I took those athletic lessons and I brought them into my adult life, and I still apply those same principles when my back's up against the wall or I face adversity. I think about my athletic days, which are a long time ago, and that helps me get through. So I just want to say congratulations to each and every one of you. To the coaches, I have not had the pleasure of meeting all of you. I have followed you on social media. But I can say, to make a point about myself, is I'm a product of this particular league as well. And one of my friendships started way back then, which was with Coach Walsh. And that's how we became friends back then, and we have stayed in touch throughout our entire lives. And it started on the baseball field, and we still see each other, and it's a kiss and a hug. It's not a, hey, how are you? I'm so excited to see him and his wife, Karen, who we all graduated high school together. So come full circle. I'm 48 years old. Dennis and I are born, I think, a day apart. And he's come back this many years later to give back to Wilmington Little League and to Wilmington baseball as a whole as a volunteer coach. So that's a credit to all of the coaches that are here. Thank you for what you do. The volunteerism and the coaching that we need in this town, it's hard to find people that have the time or have the desire or the combination of the two to come and coach our kids. You guys are the role models. They're paying attention to everything that you're saying, everything that you're doing. You're taking time outside of yourself and your investment in your own child's performance, but to coach other people's young men and women, and we appreciate that. And for the family and parents and siblings that are here, thank you for everything that you guys do. It takes a village to get all these men to where they need to go, and I'm sure there may not be the only person in your household that's in a sport or some other activity. So it truly takes a total team effort collectively between the players, coaches, and the parental support, family support that goes along with it. So you guys clearly are the total package, and I just want to offer my sincere congratulations. You all have brought a tremendous amount of pride to the town, and I just want to say thank you.
So I have some certificates I'd like to hand out in recognition of your championship. And again, thank you to each and every one of you, your coaches. I echo everything Judy and my other colleagues had said. So enjoy this time. You should be proud of yourselves. I'll take it. We'll do something with it.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right, take care. All right. Okay. And then our last appointment, Christine Tuma Conway, Town Clerk, establishing precincts following United States Census results.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Just by way of background, you may or may not know that every 10 years we have the decennial federal census. As a result of the results of that census, precinct lines are drawn or redrawn to accommodate any shifts in population that might occur. So this happens every 10 years, and this year we thought there was a possibility that we would have to expand ourselves to 7 precincts because we were very close to the 24,000 mark in population. So you can't have more than 4,000 people in a precinct. So we were a bit concerned that we might have to expand to 7 precincts. But luckily, luckily that was not the case, and our total population number for Wilmington came in at 23,349 people. So that enabled us to stay within the 6 precinct configuration that we've had for the last 10 years. It doesn't matter what happens in the next 10 years, we will be 6 precincts for the next 10 years.
Oh, okay.
And depending on what happens in the 2030 census, you may or may not have to expand to 7 precincts at that time, depending on what the population is. So that, you know, the magic number is 4,000. You can't have more than 4,000 people in a precinct. So when population increases, it shifts, and sometimes you'd think, well, you know, we're going to have 6 precincts, why can't we just have the same lines? But you can't, because, you know, you have developments here and you have developments there, and what ends up happening is, because of those shifts and because of other rules that we have to follow as we create our precincts, namely to keep census blocks together, and census blocks are created at the federal government level, so we can't split a census block. So we have to fit those people within each census block, and there can't be more than 4,000 people, you know, combined with all of those blocks also. So there have been some minor shifts, and the map that's up indicates both the current precinct lines, which are the black lines, and then the colors, which represent the new lines. So you can see from the map that's up there that in precinct number 1, part of precinct number 1 is going to, with this shift in lines, move into precinct number 2. So if you look at the black line that encompasses precinct 1 now, and then you look at the pink in the northern part of precinct 2 that kind of juts into the yellow, so now that's going to become part of precinct number 2 instead of precinct 1. And that's the case with all of the movement that's gone on. So there are some rules that we have to follow, and we have followed those rules in creating these precincts, and we have received preliminary okay from the state that we've met all of the requirements, which basically are, you have to keep your census blocks together, you can't have more than 4,000 people in a precinct, you can't have more than a 5% variance for the population of any precinct from the average precinct population. So the average precinct population, because we have 23,349 people, the average precinct population is 3,892. So no precinct could be less than 3,697, which is 5% less than the average, and no precinct could be more than, well, 4,000, because you can't have more than 4,000. So because of the fact that we need to stay within that 5% parameter, the lines have moved a bit, and this is the recommendation that we have come up with based on talking to the state, based on the work that's been done, great work that's been done by Tony Laverde, who is the GIS manager, and we fall within all of the necessary ranges.
Okay. I'll
If
open it up
anybody
to
has any questions, I'm happy to.
questions. Well, I'll start. So when, so these will be, with approval from the state, these will be the new districts as
The new
here.
precincts,
New
yes.
precincts, sorry.
Yes.
So when would we expect that to be, is that of January 1st?
As of January 1st.
Okay.
So the deadline to submit our plan
Yeah.
is October 30th.
Okay.
However, I would recommend that, that it be done earlier.
Sure.
Because you want to get it into the state and you want them to give you your approval, so that the work of preparing to notify your voters
That was gonna be my
can
next
start.
question. Okay.
I mean, obviously, it's not going to start until we've actually changed the precincts, but,
Right.
there's a lot of pre-work that needs to be done. So I would recommend that you do it as quickly as possible.
And how do you go about notifying residents that their precinct may or may not have changed?
It would be sufficient to include with the census that we send out every year,
Okay.
a notice to every household saying, you're in precinct X and you vote at such and such a place. I do believe there's some thought being given to sending out a postcard in addition to that to all of the households. So you don't have to send it to every voter, but you would send a postcard to every household saying, your re-precincting has occurred, and without getting into the details
Yeah.
of where you were, where you might be. This
Right.
is your precinct, this is where you vote.
Okay.
So that I think that those two together would probably be a good way of making notification.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, if I could just add one, couple of points. As the town clerk noted, the deadline to have the precincts for the board to take a vote is prior to the end of October. The thought was to present this to the board this evening for consideration, not specifically to take a vote tonight, but the recommendation would be that when the board meets again on the 27th of September, that this be considered at that time for approval, and then it, as I understand it, and the town clerk can correct me if I'm wrong, but goes to the state. There's a particular election board within the Secretary of the Commonwealth's office that would need to review this again and ultimately give the final imprimatur.
So what you vote on when you do vote is both the map,
Yeah.
and then a listing of all the blocks with all the population numbers in the census blocks, and then finally a legal description of the precincts. So we have the map, we actually have the listing of census blocks. We just received a preliminary version of the legal description, but that has to be worked on a little bit. So before you can approve, all of that has to happen, which of course is not done by you, it's done by us, but, so if, I guess what I'm thinking is that, if this is not going to be the map, then before the next meeting, all of that work will have to be redone if, this is not gonna be the map that gets approved.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Mr. Bender?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you very much, Tina, for this update. Tony, thank you, and I see our Assistant Clerk, Mrs. Lawrence, is here. Thank you for being here. Appreciate the update, and certainly look forward to considering this for the next meeting, but I'd also want to wish you well. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Any further comments or?
As far as the mapping's concerned, I have no issues. I do want to echo Mr. Bendel's comments and thanking you very much for what you've done for the town during your time here, and you will be sorely missed, and good luck.
Yeah.
Should be great.
Yes. Good. All right, so we are not going to make a motion on anything this evening, so I think we can, we're good. Yeah,
Okay.
so thank you and best of luck as well.
Thank
You'll
you
be
all.
missed. Thank you. All right. All right, our next appointment, we have Michael Shampoo, Chairman of the Economic Development Committee, on an update on activities. Mr. Shampoo.
Mike, where'd you go? We'll do the slides first, if that's okay with you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for the invitation to be here. First, I want to start by saying, Ms. O'Connell, congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome back, I guess. It's good to see you back where you belong.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that the town saved $3 by not having to reprint your nameplate, so that's good. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, for the invitation to be here. My remarks are very, very brief, so questions certainly we'll take them on. I want to recognize a couple of my colleagues in the room. Carol, say your last name, please. Boisvert. I always want to say Boisvert because I'm a shampoo. And Suzanne Sullivan, who are members with me on the Economic Development Committee, and they're here this evening, I think just for moral support. So, but if I run into any brick walls, I'm going to call them in to sort of correct the record if I misstate anything. So I'm just going to give a very brief overview of what we've been up to over the course of the last couple of years, and then we'll talk about some of the things that we're in the middle of that we hope to have some deliverables for the town over the course of the next couple of months. So slide 1 is a summary overview. There we are. The committee, as many of you will remember, was formed in the spring of 2019. It is 11-member committee. 5 are appointed by the town manager. 1 designee from the planning office, currently that is Valerie Gingrich, and 5 selectmen appointees. So each of you have or will have an opportunity to make an appointment to our committee. A discussion, by the way, for the future to talk about what the succession planning is and how we get new appointments and that kind of stuff. And I know you folks have sort of talked about that. I'm certainly anxious to hear how that gets resolved, but that's not for tonight. We spent our first few meetings, we meet once a month. So in terms of bandwidth and momentum, it sometimes can be a little bit difficult to get the work done in between those periods, but we have been successful by and large, continuing to move the ball forward. The first few meetings really was about writing our mission statement and defining what our description, what our purpose would be, what was the intent of our committee, where we were going to direct our efforts. Also concurrent with that, we recognized right away that we would need to have a page on the town's website dedicated to the Economic Development Committee. And so that was put in place very early on, and I thank John O'Neill for his assistance in making that all happen and continuing to make it happen. It's there. I invite the public to go to the town's website and just seek out economic development under the committees. And we tried to keep it updated with activities and with resources and things that are going on both in Wilmington but also regionally. In the late fall of 2019, and then again it went into early 2020, we initiated a resident survey to gather residents' perceptions, ideas, and desires for our local economy. Results posted to the WEDC site. So that effort really was, we discovered or discussed early in our existence that if we were going to dedicate time and energy and resources and potentially even financial resources towards economic development for the town of Wilmington, we wanted to get a sense of what the public, what the residents in Wilmington were looking for. And certainly we got a breadth of answers. The findings are there on the website. I don't have them here for you this evening. But except for a volume of Trader Joe's responses, we did get a lot of really good positive responses. And the general gist was that people were looking for the kind of stuff that those of you that are familiar with, I think it was in 2018, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, the UMass Donahue Institute had done a market study for our community and came up with a few like high-level observations. And one of those was that the kind of businesses that Wilmington needs and would be well received by the residents are these experiential type of businesses. Think like King's, we have one K1 here in town. Not just not just a restaurant, but maybe a restaurant where people can play games or again, experiential. And inside of that experiential type of environment or business was included brew pubs and breweries and that kind of thing. I'll get to that. Throughout the winter of 2020, we culled over those survey results, and together with the findings from the UMass Donahue Institute that I referred to, we began to consider proactive strategies, and ultimately it's the proactivity that defines what we are as a committee. We really drive ourselves to being not responsive or reactive to inquiries or to folks that are coming to Wilmington. The Planning Board and Zoning Board of Appeals are well suited to those kind of reactive activities. But the Economic Development Committee is really thinking about what can we doing out in the community, in the greater community in Boston and the region to try to draw businesses to us. How can we be the proactive marketing arm of the town of Wilmington from an economic development standpoint? And so the study, our survey and that study really are forming the foundation of our efforts and our strategies. Spring of 2020 to spring of 2021, well, I think all know what happened over the course of that year. We had to pivot like so many other people did. As we had started to gain some momentum thinking about what those proactive approaches were going to be, it was, I guess, inconsistent for us to think that we could be real proactive during an incredible pandemic that we didn't really know. No one knew what the pandemic was going to look like from a business and economic perspective. So we kind of reined it in, and I think my colleagues would probably agree that we focused our energies during that time on being a resource for information, putting links on our website to the state resources, even federal resources, information about what the reopening schedules were when that started to come out from the governor's office. So instead of really thinking proactively about, let's talk about the next 5-10 years, we were really, in this case, becoming more reactive, or at least becoming another resource for businesses to look to for information during a time when it was a bit confusing, to say the least. And I'm happy to say we've really moved past those times and are back into our sort of proactive, down-the-road thinking. In early 2021, as a result or as a consequence of the pandemic, the state of Massachusetts instituted the LRP Grant Program, Local Rapid Recovery Program, offered by the Mass Office of Housing and Community Development, MHCD, as part of the Baker-Polito Recovery Plan to revitalize downtowns, respond to the effects of COVID-19 on local businesses, and prioritize actions and strategies. And the grant is in the form of consulting services. When we think of the word grant, it seems like, someone's going to write us a big fat check. We didn't get a big fat check. What we got was consulting services to the tune of $38,000. Is that the number, Jeff? That's what's stuck in my head. I think so. I believe that they valued these consulting services at $38,000. The state is paying for a consultant. We were assigned a consultant. The name of that consulting firm is Berry Dunn Government Consulting Division, to look specifically at our Main Street commercial corridor. So part of the LRP program, it couldn't focus on the entire community. They needed to focus on a specific environment or a specific region within the community that was potentially or is continuing to be potentially affected negatively by the pandemic and by COVID-19. So we defined and we're accepted effectively the Main Street marketing corridor, the Main Street commercial corridor, starting effectively where Lucci's is, but yeah, that's kind of far. But that Lowell Street and then connecting to Main Street and going up to effectively where Rocco's is. And there are some pluses and minuses there off of Main Street where there are commercial enterprises there. And so Berry Dunn came and visited with us a couple of times and worked on their own survey, looked at other data that we had gathered, and they have been in and continue to be putting together and culling together all of this data and all of this information through multiple meetings with us, a subcommittee of the Economic Development Committee, and communicating with us on our visions and what we would like to see come out of this. And two big sort of takeaways that we will probably have for you in a more formal presentation, hopefully soon, would be a facade improvement program. So some of the buildings, some of the businesses that maybe could use a coat of paint, could use some help on their signage, some help on their frontage. There are hopefully some ways that the Economic Development Committee can spur some grants or a grant program that would allow those businesses to gain access to low interest or no interest funds to do some of these efforts and beautify their businesses and thereby beautify the town, making it, just a little bit more attractive. Additionally, one of the big bullets for me anyway is a branding or a marketing initiative. Ultimately, we've kind of started that ball rolling already, but we hope to engage the resources of a professional marketing consultancy to look at us as a brand, look at the town of Wilmington as a brand. And that might mean, developing a logo for economic development, but it also looks probably at social media campaigns, public relations campaigns, and we're kind of doing some of this organically, but none of us are professionals in this space. We're all volunteers, just like you folks. And so at the end of the day, we're going to be looking to gain some expertise to put some of these things in place. Ultimately, with a branding initiative and a marketing initiative, what I hope to be able to do is start now that the committee can start to be much more proactive with that identity going out into the marketplace. Let's see where we are. Bear with me for a moment. So some deliverables, John, there we go. The survey, I'm talking about, just repeating myself a little bit here, but the survey is serving as a foundation. That's the core principle. That's what we're targeting, using it as the basis. Many of you will remember that we did in fact have a zoning change that was, spurred along or created, if you will, as a result of efforts of the Economic Development Committee. That zoning change allows now for a brew pub in the business district in town that couldn't exist prior to that zoning change. And it's one of those things that you don't know that it is there until you look at the zoning code and realize there's an opportunity for an improvement there. We don't have a brew pub yet, but we're hoping that if we build it, they will come. We built it, and now we're just trying to get the word out. By the way, and that's what publicity campaign alludes to. Right after the town meeting, and once we got word from the state that the core of that zoning change had been approved, we did launch a publicity campaign, getting the fact that we have this now available in the town, and really kind of trying to capitalize on Wilmington as hop town. And many of you know that we have a rich heritage as a hop growing community from days gone by. So we did try to leverage that with some publicity, local press, as well as state press. I even tried to send it to a number of press outlets that are in that beer brewing industry, hoping to get the attention of maybe some restaurateurs or brewers that might seek out this idea of hop town in Wilmington. So knock on wood, hopefully that message will get into the eyes of the right people. Again, that's that proactive approach. I can't make them come. All we can do is create an environment that's conducive to them coming, and we're hoping we're doing that. Open communications recently with the founder of Wormtown Brewing. Wormtown, as some of you may know, it's a sizable brewery in Worcester, in the Worcester area. And so one of our members, Rob Oliveri, thank you very much. Mr. Oliveri has a personal relation with this gentleman. And so he was invited to our meeting at our last Economic Development Committee meeting, and he was a wealth of insight. He's an entrepreneur, he's a financier, a restaurateur, and has done a number of businesses over the course of his life. And so just gleaning from him, what were the criteria? What are the things you look for? What are the things that are problematic, and talking about everything from the politics of town hall to geography to the demographics within the community, the income level, all those things. And he was a wealth of information, and it's really good to get it right from someone who's gone through this multiple times. And he remains committed to being available to us for ongoing communications. So I think that relationship and others like it will serve us well going forward. These are people who are willing to give of their time and their talents just because we ask. So we're going to seek more of that out. The Lrp Consulting Grant I just alluded to, or not alluded to, but I just referred to, that should be coming to a conclusion in October. So Barry Dunn will be presenting to the state, and then once the state says, yes, we like what you're presenting, they will present to us, the Economic Development Committee, and we'll be coming before you. Part of that, I hope, I don't know the answer to this, but I hope will include not only activities that we can pursue that are easy pickings, so to speak, the stuff that we can start right away, but also recommendations and advice on how we can fund some of these efforts, because nothing's free, right? So we're not going to necessarily, hopefully, not be coming to you guys saying, fund these efforts. Hopefully, we can come to you and say, these are some efforts we want to pursue, and we've also identified some funding sources through the various state outlets. So fingers crossed that we'll be able to deliver some of that for you. And lastly, while I said this branding initiative and our marketing campaign is something that we are going to continue, we leaped forward quite a bit, and through the efforts of Nancy Valley, who's a member on our committee, and is also, as you know, the executive director of the Chamber of Commerce, we were able to develop a town video, which I think, personally, I'm maybe a little biased, but I think it does a very nice job of highlighting our capabilities, highlighting our strengths, and really putting us out there into the greater community, and hopefully drawing the eyes. And I'll speak to the video after it. WCTV, I don't know if you want to get a microphone up against this speaker, but what I would say is this. If you don't hear it well on WCTV, forgive us, we're in a weird environment here. Please go to the town's website. There is a link there on the Economic Development Committee page. So please avail yourself of watching the video, and I would ask you personally, share the video. If you know folks that have businesses or are in a position to potentially bring a business to Wilmington, please share this with them and get this out into and in front of the eyes and the ears of people. But for now, I'll ask John to get it.
Wilmington. This video was made possible by Wilmington's Economic Development Committee and Salem 5 Bank. Banking that's right for you. Looking for a great place to call home for you or your business? Wilmington is the ideal location. Just 15 miles north of Boston and 19 miles south of New Hampshire, Wilmington is located off 93 with easy access to 495 and 95. With 2 train stations, commuting to Boston is easy. We attract businesses for many reasons, including our great location. There's a healthy mix of national chains, along with independently owned stores, restaurants, and businesses. The town has 3 industrial areas, with excellent opportunity for warehouse and manufacturing, R&D, high-tech, and other sectors. Approximately 23,000 people probably call Wilmington home. It has a great small-town community feel and access to retail, dining, and personal services. The vibrant real estate market offers a mix of single-family homes, condominiums, and apartments. The average single-family home price is $599,900, and rents range from $1,700 to $2,200. The town offers an excellent school system with a newly built high school and is home to the spirited Wildcats. We have a 98% graduation rate, with 80% attending higher education. That includes many nearby colleges. Wilmington has you covered when it comes to healthcare, with many local medical offices and quick access to some of the world's best Boston hospitals. Enjoy the outdoors at our town dog park, Rotary Park, and Yentl Farm Recreational Facility. And plenty of family fun at the beautiful Silver Lake with swimming, boating, fishing, and ice skating. For indoor fun, the Shriners Auditorium hosts many premier shows and exhibitions, including the famous Lrp Shriner Circus. We're a family-oriented community with many annual events such as the Memorial Day and Halloween parades, an Easter egg hunt, road races, concerts on the common, and even week-long July 4th celebration and a merry tree lighting event. No wonder Business Week magazine declared Wilmington one of the most affordable suburbs in Massachusetts. What a great place to live, work, and raise a family.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John. I would be remiss if I didn't repeat what you heard there. This came in as a result of the contribution or cooperation of Salem 5 Bank. Fortunately, through the planning board, we were able to fund some of this. The balance of it was funded by Salem 5, and we're very grateful to them, of course. So that's my presentation. That's the video. We're hoping that this video, it says everything we all know.
Yeah.
We love Wilmington, but we need to get it out in front of people who don't know. And so that's really the goal here, is to start getting this word out. And that will be our effort over the course of the near and long-term future. So I open myself up to questions. I have colleagues here that I'm certain would cooperate, as well as my colleague on the
Yes.
the committee, Ms. Maselli. I was remiss in not recognizing you here as well.
No, that's okay.
So yeah, please, I'm at your disposal.
Well, I'd like to open it up to my colleagues here, since I'm kind of already in the know and involved here, but if anybody has any questions or comments, No?
Just, no questions, but just a comment that was an excellent presentation. It's great to have you here to tell us what you're doing, and certainly you guys were on the move, for sure, and that video presentation was outstanding. And I look forward to more coming activities that you have on the table.
Thank you, Mr. Karen. Thank you. And I tell you, we would have probably been here earlier, certainly. COVID, I hate to use it as an excuse, but it certainly thwarted some of our development. We continued to meet as you did, as all boards did, but our activities were stalled a little bit. So it's really exciting to be getting back to doing the proactive work again. So I don't want to take too much credit for the video. I had a hand in the script, but it's the experts put the video together, and I think they did a good job as well.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Palmer?
Congratulations on that video. That is outstanding. The first time I saw it, I actually got excited over it, saying something positive, something nice, something enlightening. The only question I have for you, Mr. Shampoo, is there's one stigma Wilmington has that I hear from a lot of people, and I believe you'll agree with me. We're a drive-through community. Are you planning, through your committee, to address that some way, that we can show that we aren't a drive-through community, that we have things here for you?
Well, we're trying to create an environment that the type of businesses that would be destinations and not pass-by destinations, or not just pass-by businesses, if we can get those kind of businesses to choose us, then we can stop being a pass-through or a drive-through community and start being a destination community. What activities are we planning? Out of the LRP program, I'm hoping that we will evolve into thinking about some creative things like these are hypotheticals here, so don't etch this in stone, but I'm thinking like...
Trader Joe's.
Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
No, like a food truck festival or something like that, where, you have to come to that event. And, we would work collaboratively, conceivably with the owner of the Market Basket Plaza to maybe do it during a non-busy time. And the way I look at it, something like that would be mutually beneficial, not just for the food trucks in my hypothetical, but those attendees that are coming for a food truck or for whatever it is they want to buy at that festival are now going to be witness to the businesses in that plaza and potential patrons of the businesses in that plaza. It becomes this sort of mutually beneficial environment. Those are the kind of things we're thinking about, Mr. De Palma, but I can't promise you that we have the magic bullet. We're going to keep on marching forward and hoping that some businesses and some creative entrepreneurs will start to discover what we have and bring something to the table that we can build upon.
Well, Mr. Shampoo, having you address it is the first step, and you have addressed it. So I look forward to anything I know I can do, and I know the board, I believe all my colleagues on the board will tell you that we'll support you in any way that we possibly could. But for you to say that we have to do things is the first step. And I hope you just carry it forward after that. And I congratulate your committee. They are doing some really great things in town.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Shampoo, thank you very much for the presentation. Excellent. The video is awesome. It's just phenomenal. I hope everybody gets a chance to see it. It's a great representation of our town, and obviously had the opportunity, good fortune to work with such a great group of people for 2 years, and I know firsthand how hardworking your group is, and certainly you've had the benefit of addition by subtraction since June, but I certainly appreciate all your efforts and wish you well moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pendle, and we miss you, and we thank you for your contributions for the first couple of years there. You're always welcome back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have another Greg on the board, so it would have been confusing anyway.
I would just say thank you as well. The video is outstanding. I think you really did an outstanding job collectively as a committee. I really appreciate the work that you do and the members of your committee, those that are here and those that couldn't be here. The fact that it is volunteerism, and I think it's been a challenge. You've been up here, you're very involved in the chamber. and I say that, I know you're part of a bigger committee and you're a symbolic representation, but I know you've been particularly passionate about economic development, and we all know that Wilmington's a great community, but why doesn't everybody else want to come here as well? And that is a challenge. So I'm really pleased with what you've spoken about, the fact that there's been some zoning changes to have some creative zoning to allow other uses so that we cast a bigger net as to the bigger other businesses that could come here. The other piece is that, you know, we did a TIF agreement back, which was the first in history, with Analog, for example, and what does that look like for other businesses? And so you have a pretty high task, and I think people need to recognize that, to have conversations with R&D or big industrial parks, or having conversations at retail, or having conversations in the medical arena. I'm just picking some samples. They're not easy conversations to have. And as volunteers, it's hard to get to that level of strategic when you're trying to be with your families and do your own occupations and have time and you only meet once a month. So I think you're off to a great start. You came into this with a pandemic, so that's not to kind of give you a hall pass for an indefinite period of time. But I would say that you're doing all the right things, and I am pleased with what I'm seeing. I'm promoting it on social media. I'd love to be an advocate for your group in any way that I can. I'm a member of the chamber as well. I think what you're doing is an incredible, valuable service as a committee to the community, and I really hope that it continues in earnest, because we frankly need this in a tremendous way. And I know Jeff has been committed to helping the economic development endeavors, but at the same time, he's doing a considerable workload as well as the assistant town manager, and there's only so many hours in the day. So how do we move the ball forward? That's kind of the magic answer. And I just want to say thank you, and I wish you well, and if I can be supportive in any way, please don't hesitate to let me know.
I promise we will. Thank you. All set?
Well, yeah, no, I just, I think it's a phenomenal group, and I would just say to my colleagues here that, every single one of them is honestly very passionate about the work that is happening on this board, and, really is taking a lot of time out of their, personal time to volunteer and put forth ideas. I mean, just the production of that video, the work that had to go into the subcommittee. So, it's a great committee. I'm proud to serve on that board prior to my selectman, duties, but as a original member. But, I'm proud to be part of it. I'm proud of all you guys, and I look forward to doing more good things. So thank you for coming this evening, and appreciate it.
Thanks for the invitation. We'll
Yeah,
see you soon.
we'll see you soon.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Look forward to it. Thank you all again. Have a good evening.
Okay, thank you. All right, we are going to move on to communications. Mr. Hull.
Yes, the first item under communications is a memo from me just noting Christina Tuma-Conway's resignation from the town. As you know, her last day is tomorrow, and then she will be assuming her new role as the Chief of Staff for the Mayor of Methuen. Next memo was just notifying the board that effective on the 15th of September, in light of Ms. Tuma-Conway's departure, I've named Beth Lawrenson as the temporary town clerk. Clearly, there are a number of functions that require a town clerk in that role. So during the recruiting process here, which I anticipate to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 to 6 weeks, Beth Lawrenson will be serving in that role. Then also memo to the board with regard to the MSBA Wildwood School eligibility period, which, as you know, we are in the midst of. And one of the deadlines that we just passed here within the last couple of weeks was a requirement that we establish a school building committee, and that was submitted to the MSBA. Just by way of a brief highlights, the individuals serving on that committee, myself, Selectman Bendel, also David Ragsdale, who's a member of the school committee, Superintendent Glenn Brand, who will actually chair the committee, George Hooper, our buildings superintendent, Charlotte King, the school principal, also Paul Ruggiero, who's the assistant superintendent of administration and finance, Brian Perry, our finance director, town accountant, and then members of the permanent building committee, Diane Allen, John Holloway, Paul Melrani, and then as alternates, we have two members of the school committee, MJ Burns, Melissa Plowman, and then from the Board of Selectmen, Selectman Kyra, and then also an alternate, again, from the schools, Kristen Walsh. So this information has been provided to MSBA. Our next major deadline will be the 28th of December, where there's a series of information, including enrollment information, information about the status of our buildings and our building maintenance efforts. That is all due at the end of the year. Next, under correspondence, is a memo from me with regard to the location for a potential special town meeting, or a special town meeting. It's clear that, again, as part of the MSBA process, the eligibility period runs through March 28th. And aside from this information gathering process that is ongoing now, there is a requirement that the town seek funding for a feasibility and schematic design of this future facility in whatever form it may bear. And so the expectation is most likely subject to the board's approval ultimately, that we're looking at a town meeting, a special town meeting in early March. I have had some conversations with the representative from the Shriners on the possibility that that facility be used again. You know, unfortunately, we're still in this rather unsettling place with COVID and the COVID variant. And my thought is that, well, we hope we could have a special town meeting at the high school in the event that things don't improve as we hope they will. We should have a plan B, and so I will be coming back to the board with dates, or a date that would be recommended, but I'd like the board to consider the prospect that we have the special town meeting again at the Shriners. It seemed like it worked out very well for our annual town meeting. Next is correspondence, just confirming the appointment of Jared Costantino, who was an appointment to the Economic Development Committee by Selectman Kyra. And then we have correspondence from the Metropolitan Area Planning Committee Advisory Board. This is with regard to the nomination process for individuals to serve on that MBTA advisory board. There's 4 seats up for election. Wilmington, as you know, is part of the North Suburban Planning Council. The tentative date for the election is October 27th. Under board to consider, the first item is designating a representative to the Massachusetts Bay Transportation Authority Advisory Board, or the MBTA Advisory Board. You'll recall that that position has been vacant for a stretch of time here, and I'm just bringing this forward now that there is a full board to consider perhaps a member of the board serving in that role. In the event that there is, people want to give it some thought, certainly there's no need for a decision this evening. I did receive correspondence from Brian Kane, who's the executive director. This is actually dated July 23rd. It was actually directed to the chair, noting that Wilmington has a vacancy and just seeking to confirm the status. So I responded to him that I would bring this before the board, and that once a full board was established, consideration would be given for a representative.
Madam Chair, if I may ask, through you to the town manager, can you tell me what the length of this appointment is? Is it an annual thing that this board decides who the representative is going to be? Or does that person continue for the length of their term? That would be one question. And then two, do you know what the time commitment roughly is? How many meetings? Or do you know where these meetings are located? Just so that whoever might volunteer kind of knows what they're signing up for?
So to the first question, historically, the individual who has served in that role has continued to serve for an indefinite stretch, subject to their availability. With regard to the time, I have an email into Mr. Kane to confirm what the time commitment is. I believe historically it's been monthly, although there are stretches of time, as I understand it, during the budget process where they may meet more frequently. And I think with the COVID situation, and I will confirm this, that more recently they've been conducting their sessions via Zoom.
Okay. I would just say, if I may, in light of needing more information in that regard that you just articulated, that I would be open to considering volunteering for this, but I would just like to have more information so that I'm not extending myself in advance with a commitment that I can't keep. But if I could get the full scope of the obligation, I could certainly give it my utmost consideration.
As soon as I hear back from Mr. Kane, I will prepare a memo for the board just outlining the time commitments and confirming their meeting locations.
Thank you.
Next, under board to consider is a memo that I provided the board back in June. As you know, part of the KP Law contract, they commit to providing 2 training sessions pro bono, so to speak, and we have taken advantage of this over the last few years. You'll note in the attachment there are a number of asterisk topics that have already been covered: open meeting law, effects of technology on public records, how to conduct flawless public hearings, conflict of interest. So for this current fiscal year, again, I'd like to try to line up a couple of sessions that we can schedule with KP. The 2 sessions that I had suggested, obviously these, it's the board's call, one being harassment, discrimination, avoidance training, and the second one being everything you always wanted to know about town meeting but were afraid to ask. Certainly the first one, I think, is particularly important given the unfortunate, the circumstances of litigation that we always face. We want to make sure we have folks that are trained in harassment and discrimination avoidance, so to speak. So, but this is again something that the board can take action on tonight, or if you choose to defer. But certainly I would like to try to get some kind of direction on this, because as you know, once we get into calendar 22 with town meeting and so on, it becomes more difficult, not only for us, but for council to schedule these sessions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just from my perspective, having sat in a couple of these trainings, they're obviously very beneficial, and I took away a lot from them. So I'm kind of at an advantage where I've seen all these already. I know others have not seen these presentations, even though they have been held. I myself, having been through a couple, would prefer to see something like the training on private and public ways. That one's one kind of at the top of my list, but I'm certainly open to any and all training. Even some of the ones that we've seen 2 or 3 years ago would be a good refresher to see. So, Madam Chair, I'm open to.
Yeah, I am open as well. That is actually one that I ticked off too, was the private and public ways, since we do have some things coming up with that. It'd be good to get. Anybody else comments or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, well, we did see the private and public ways. There's two of them. There's two different,
Oh, yes, yep.
seminars. So we did see one of them. I don't know if the other one relates to the first one we saw, but and I've been to a couple as well. Yeah, I would just suggest that the training, and I know it's been held after work hours, and one of them I think was fairly long. But I'm wondering if you had it also during a workday for the employees, if that would make sense as well.
Certainly, if there was intention to include the harassment and discrimination piece, that one I would want to have during the day for staff.
I'm open to any. I don't know if anybody wants to, anything particular, or if we should go with Jeff's recommendation, or do you want to take it off?
Yeah, the only question I would ask through you is if Jeff could find out, some of these we saw via Zoom because of the pandemic. Are they still Zoom? What time would they be offered in the evening? That might sway one member from choosing one if they had a conflict with work. Or I know we had one in this very room. It was about close to 4 hours long. I don't know if people want to make sure they know what they're signing up for.
Yeah.
I can inquire about how they're being conducted. I wouldn't be surprised if they're continuing to be conducted via Zoom, but I can find that out, and also, the time when they would be available. Again, my expectation is that to the extent there are programs that we're seeking to have done during the regular workday, so to speak, 8:30 to 4:30, I think they could accommodate that, and I think they could also accommodate evening sessions. But I will confirm.
Okay.
Next, under Board to consider is a request of the Recreation Commission to conduct their 53rd Annual Horribles Parade on Sunday, October 24th.
Okay.
Would entertain a
Yep.
motion if there's a motion.
Entertain a motion.
Make a motion
Any-
to accept it.
Judy, did you have a comment or anything, or?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Nope, no, I did not.
All right. All in favor?
That's all good.
Is there-
That's all good. I'll
There
speak
was a
now.
second. Did you guys second? Anybody second? There
I'll
was a
second it.
motion.
I'll second
Okay.
it.
All right.
Sorry, I
just to-
couldn't hear.
I know, right?
Just to clarify, so Mr. Selectman De Palmer moved, made the motion,
Yep.
and
I'll second it, please.
Yeah. All in favor? Unanimous.
Next is a request for approval of licenses to sell Christmas trees for the Wilmington Methodist Church, care of John Avernitis, and also the Boy Scouts of America, Troop 56, care of Benjamin DeGenario. And this, if the board is so inclined, typically the board waives the fee, so I would just ask that if the board is making this motion, that the motion include a waiver of the fees for these licenses.
So approved. I'll make
Okay.
a motion
All right,
based upon what the...
second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Approved with no fee.
And then the final board to consider is executing an amended secondhand dealer license for Gamestop. The manager of the store has left, the employee of Gamestop, and the regional or district manager, Beverly Dalton, the administrative assistant, has been in touch with this person, and she's indicating that I guess they do have some measure of turnover with store managers, was asking whether it would be possible to name the district manager in that role, and in consultation with the police chief and deputy, they felt that was not a problem as long as the district manager could guarantee a presence in the store. We're told that the district manager will be there at least weekly and more likely multiple times during the week. So this would be again, a change in name so that the district manager is Ricky Palmer.
Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor? Approved unanimously.
And that is all I have for board to consider.
Great. And public comments, there are none. Any announcements?
Yeah, I would like to just say something. On Saturday, there was such a moving tribute, memorial for 9/11, and just words can't describe how well done it was. It was just a fitting tribute that was pulled together and put together by so many, and I'd like to acknowledge Mr. Bendel, who was the mover and shaker in getting this established. Did a wonderful job as the MC, and it was just words can't describe how well it was done. The flags that were outside that represented each soul that was lost, and the community that came together. It was such a nice crowd to pay tribute to that event. I can't say enough how well done it was, and thank you for doing that, and your committee for what you did for this community.
Yeah, I second that. It was that committee, I was part of that, and everybody on there, as I'm sure Greg and Jeff will tell you, was more eager to do everything and anything, and it was a spectacular day. And I know I said it before, Greg, but you did an excellent job emceeing it. You really did. Any further comments, announcements? Yes?
If I may, thank you.
Yes, please.
First of all, I'd like to welcome Judy back. I look forward to working with you again, and I still to this day remember how much I've learned from you your first go-around, and I look forward to learning a lot more from you in your second go-around, so I wish you well, and thank you for your stepping up and serving the community again. Thank you, Mr. Kyra, Ms. Pacelli, for your kind words. It was a total team effort, and so I can't really take any credit there, but I appreciate your kind words. It really was one of probably my prouder moments of being in town, is to see, like you said, pretty good crowd show up at the high school, and on what it can be a very emotional day for folks, and it kind of hits people different ways. I think it kind of hit me when I was looking out into the crowd and saw so many people, specifically so many young people that came that weren't even alive when 9/11 took place. And so I'm really appreciative to all the volunteers, that help us get ready for it. It was a total team effort in terms of the town departments who helped out, WCTV, and you spoke of the flags. I want to thank Lowell 5 Bank and the Sons of Italy who helped fund the purchase of the flags. And then there was quite a big group of volunteers that put the flags into the ground. It was about a 4-hour ordeal, and some of you helped. I really appreciate that. And then we were able to, with the help of some more high school students today, take out the flags and put them in storage for good use for the future. And so I really appreciate everybody who played a part in it. I want to thank the 9/11 committee. It was great to have it surrounded by kids, have so much involvement from the students. I think it's so important. I think we can all agree that the kids learn about 9/11 and hear about the man with the red bandana and guys like Todd Beamer. Those are important lessons that every high schooler should know. So it was great to see the high school kids there, and I thank the Veteran Service Office who really kind of drove everything. And if it wasn't for them, this town wouldn't be what it is. So I really appreciate it. Everybody who came out and all the volunteers who made it happen. And it really was, I agree, Kevin, it was a really fitting tribute. And it was a proud day for me to be from Wilmington.
Agreed. Okay, we'll move on to new business. Any new business? All right, and then we will go through important dates.
So important dates, through October 3rd, the Farmers Market continues to be available. Town Common Parking Lot, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. September 15th, which is in a couple of days here, the Joint Senior Center Building Committee and Town Hall School Administration Building Committee will be meeting here in this room, 6 p.m., with the consultants on both projects, Dietz and Company, as well as Johnson Roberts, to review the 4 sites that have been identified and discuss recommendations for appropriate siting. The September 18th, Sons of Italy and Bairn Parents yard sale, municipal parking lot. Also on September 8th, the townwide yard sale that the library facilitates. These are people throughout the community that identify their location, and it's coordinated through the library, but that will run from 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. On September 20th, the Candlelight Vigil, unfortunately, once again, in light of the COVID situation, this will not be a live vigil. It will be remote, virtual. And Samantha Reef, who, as you know, is our substance abuse coordinator, has indicated that through the efforts of WCTV on Comcast Channel 9 and Verizon Channel 37, this pre-recorded event will run from 7 p.m. Until 8 p.m. And that is on the 20th. Also on the 20th of September is the next Economic Development Committee meeting here in the auditorium at 6 p.m. September 25th is Wilmington's incorporation date, 291 years old and still going. September 27th will be the next Board of Selectmen's meeting. October 6th is a brush drop-off, Old Main Street, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Then again on October 9th, brush drop-off, Old Main Street, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. October 11th, the town offices are closed due to Columbus Day. The Board of Selectmen will meet again on October 12th, room 9, 7 p.m.
Okay, thank you very much. That will conclude our meeting this evening. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor? Have a good night, everyone.
Yeah, I was just going to say, the board does have some items to sign, if you could, before you leave.
Sure, okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good night.